We got our host, myself, ExurtBeatz, Blonju, Genesis to God, and the return of DJ Kaushun will be shortly. We were talking about
Mm.
some interesting stuff. The Genesis to God. Go ahead, continue.
So it's on the brain.
Well,
Go. What's on the brain?
okay, so the brain uses in general. Now this is not, ultimate because mind you, they're only statistically categorizing in cataloging, average, above average, but not necessarily like, top tier yogi or master magician or a Buddha or somebody that can like transcend, duality and perceive things more
Mm.
objectively.
Mm.
So, but normally it's a prediction based model where when you see something, the colors in which you perceive them are relative to the ratio of the capacity of the organism to interpret that frequency based reality. When you see shapes, colors, sizes, dimensions, when you feel a somatic sensation or an auditory sensation or a visual sensation or an olfactory sensation, etc., you're just interpreting reality, and your brain is using a predictive based model of cognitive pattern recognition. Like when you look into the clouds and you see a face. Now that doesn't mean in reality it doesn't have a meaning, but you may not actually be seeing a face. It's just your brain uses predictive based models to look at that cloud and say, oh, that's a face. Another person, if you grew up around horses and there's a horse like shaped thing, it might not be a horse, it might be a bull to someone else. It might be a ram to someone else because they grew up around rams, or they've seen more rams than they've seen horses, or they've never seen horses. It's like when you eat frog legs and you say it tastes like chicken. Someone else will say, well, it tastes like frog. Another person might say, it tastes like cricket. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like
All right.
your brain is guessing what that reality, what it tastes like based upon its previous experiences with the external reality. So when you see something, you're not necessarily seeing it as it is because it can be colorless, tasteless, soundless, etc. But our brain is enabling us to objectively, relatively navigate the environment for the sake of for a homeostatic purpose, to maintain the integrity of the organism and to navigate the reality for its own survival. And then we like to think that other people see colors, shapes, sizes, dimensions, etc. the same that we do, and that's not necessarily the case. The shade in which you perceive a color will be different in another culture who has, been taught to perceive it differently. You see what I'm saying? So you might say, well, this is purple, and they say, well, no, it's more like blue or something. You know what I mean? Because the spectrum of color is divided differently in that culture. And we like to think, oh, if you see yellow, it's yellow. No, it's not. It's neither yellow or red or blue or any of those colors. It's just a frequency. And then there's we have cones and rods and photoreceptors that allow us to see these things and interpret them. But if an alien came, he might say, well, it's black. You know what I mean? And we'd be like, well, black, why? And well, because his photoreceptors are different. You know what I mean?
Well, it's like exact science doesn't exist. Like everybody's searching for exact science. So then, the corollary or the relative, summary of what you're saying is even the most exact science from the brain is subjective and a projected image of basically a combination of imagination and, projected ultimate reality, where, any ultimate reality would therefore only be equal in nature, different in degree to the most subjective limited reality. So, we got to get off of ourselves in the sense of, taking pride in science or some kind of false pride and, an exact answer to what even the brain is doing. Like those, and then you keep saying the same word that's extremely key, which is frequency. And like, is frequency an exact science, or is frequency a feel and a, relative sliding, infinite perception scale? Frequency would be something you tap into to then connect it to all of those, cursory perceptive, trait-like experiences. But like you know, it's all one frequency ultimately. So, you know, and all frequencies and non-frequencies at the same time. So it's
yes, but
it's
that's like the two sides to the infinite coin. So on one side is on two infinite sides, you know, and one is a non-infinite side, and the other one is an infinite side, and then in the middle of it you have relative infinity, if that makes sense. So it's like or fractionalized infinity. So it's like you have nothing on one side, which is not actually the absence of something, but the presence of everything, but without the perception. Then you have the perception of everything infinitely, which is beyond anything that we can perceive. And then you have fractionalized infinity, which is something that we can perceive, but perception is relative in that state. So if I say vibration is real, it's only real to the fractionalized version of perceptive relative infinity. If I say polarity is real, it's only real to the fractionalized relative aspect of finite or limited infinity. You know what I mean? So it's like all of the principles apply to the relative, or they apply to relativity. In a state of relativity, all of these things are absolutes. Now, they're not absolute in the sense that they don't like the things that comprise they comprise, or the things that are built by them don't change. They do. They infinitely are subject to change. But the principles are stationary in the fact that you can't get rid of them, at least in this reality. And when I say this reality, there's an infinite amount of universes that are parallel to this universe that interpenetrate and coexist with this universe, and all have their varying degrees or even exact degrees that, you know, that pertain to the principles. But then you have an infinite amount of other universes and things you can't even fathom that don't pertain to the principles. And we can only speculate on those because the law of polarity says that the law of paradox says that it's possible or plausible, but not necessarily, it doesn't necessarily exist, and you can't actually objectively speculate on it. You could potentially say that it does, but that doesn't mean that it does. But paradox allows for you to even speculate on the nature of it. You see what I'm saying? We talked about this before. You can't say that there's a universe where the mind doesn't exist, because your mind exists. You can only fathom mind. So even if I said a universe does exist without mind, my mind can't fathom it. The only principle that allows for me to even speculate is paradox. You see what I'm saying?
Okay, yeah. So let's go back to the brain not being an exact science, and what is the brain actually doing when it's tapping into those frequencies? Like, we keep taking pride in like, I think therefore I am type language, and I think that might be, you know, stepping both to the side and behind, you know, creator energy sometimes, because you're empowering yourself as a separate, you know, entity, and you forget connection when it's like, I think therefore I am, and then, you know, relative to your thoughts, like, what is that perception? Like, there's a false pride going on in terms of, you know, what is the brain really telling us? Like, are we thinking our thoughts, or are they being programmed? Like, what is the combination between those two things? So it isn't the brain
good question
and the heart, right? And isn't the brain and then the heart, like I was going to say, this makes me think that the brain does more feeling than it actually does thinking when it comes to actually connecting with those frequencies. And then the heart is the embodiment of those feelings. So it's like, you know, you're embodying a paradox, basically, both to think and not think, but then to basically take a leap of faith into feeling where you're never really sure how you feel, because there's no static feeling. There's no, I feel this way and I'll feel this way eternally. Like, you know, it's like an amalgamation of all possible emotions and no emotions. And then, you know, so connecting the brain and heart, I wanted to go back to the original, you know,
it's point, like a table, you know. It's like a table's like, yo, I'm a table at the moment, but I won't always be a table. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
I'd be firewood, I was a tree.
Yeah, humans are more malleable. So it's like, you know, today I'm sad, tomorrow I'm happy, or 5 seconds from now I'm depressed, or I have anxiety. You know what I mean? And like, we're feeling these things because we're more malleable based frequency models. But are you actually any of these things? No, you're just witnessing what the organism is able to experience at any given time based upon its level of malleability and how it's been constructed. It's like, imagine it's like if you were a cup and then I poured water, but you had a hole in you. And when I poured water through you, it was always tinctured, or, you know, the water was refracted through the cup, and then the water is always changing in perception because the cup has a perception-based model. Like, it's a perceptive-based model. So if I pour the clear water through it, it's always going to come out the other end looking differently. But the cup didn't actually do anything. The cup didn't actually change. It's just being, the water's just being fractalized, or being, you know, broken down and perceived differently through the cup. It's kind of like there are no thinkers. You know, the creator doesn't think. You know, I came up with a concept
exactly
about the all is okay. The whole concept of the all is mind, the universe is mental.
I've been thinking that the whole time.
And I used to say, well, yeah, I came to a conclusion years ago, and I said, you know, the thoughtless thinker. Like, the creator's thoughtless. It can't actually think. And then I thought to myself, I said, well, if the creator can't think, how could we? You know? Like, can you do something greater than your creator? And then it was like, well, the creator can't think because the creator doesn't actually do anything. Because if it did anything, it'd be subject to doing it, which would limit it. Because then that's like saying it's doing something that it's never done before, which would contradict the whole notion of an infinite, omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent creator. So if it's any of those things, it can't actually do anything. So we can't actually do something that transcends that if we are that in any way. So once again, we're just experiencing the sum total of events and what it appears to be in any given moment, when in reality it's ultimately all of those things back to nothing, something, and then the fractionalized finite version of that something, while the nothing pervades it. You know what I mean? And it's kind of hard to explain without having the experience. If you have the experience, all three of those can exist as a singularity and still be nothing and something at the same time, in the absence of the principles in that something and the presence of the principles in that something, because the principles are how we perceive. And, you know, we always say perception is reality, but really reality is beyond perception. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's really a complex but simple notion. But it's like people have to get past, you know, well, vibration doesn't exist? Not really. Polarity doesn't exist? Not really. Rhythm doesn't exist? Not really. But I have to tell you that it does, so that you can, just like the brain is predicting what it's experiencing in ratio to its capacity, the principle is the absolute foundation to that perceptive experience. Now, does it exist? Ultimately, no, because the nothing and the something are not bound by it, but they are in the sense of perception. And that's only relatively in all of the infinite amounts of universes that are subject to the principles, you know, when this something appears to be in motion. You know what I mean? If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it goes back to pride, like what I was talking about when I brought up Descartes. Like, you know, it's like, if you're smart, or if you think you're smart, you want to provide answers. You know, you want to provide a map or a guide, you know, like a guide of nothing ever. I think we created this show certainly not out of pride as much as out of the, you know, need to commune in this manner, where the goal isn't necessarily something specific, but it's, you know, communion and conversation and infinite reflection. So it was more of like a semantic game. Like, how can we break down semantics to rebuild the language in a way where we could describe a paradox without sounding contradictory, or experiencing or embodying a paradox without sounding like that's impossible, or, you know, if somebody hasn't felt that way, then they can't identify or they can't empathize or understand. And, you know, it's a process. So when you stop tying yourself to the goal of ultimate reality, or, you know, being able to find, you know, stillness within infinite motion, you know, if you don't attach to that, you experience it whether you experience it or not. And I don't know if our, you know, conversation necessarily helps everybody. I know some people probably hear what we're saying and they get frustrated, or, you know, even more confused from, you know, a point of trying to find purpose or meaning, because the search for purpose or meaning becomes so external and so based on perception itself in general. Like, perception is everything. So it's like, perception is 9/10 of the law, perception is reality. And a lot of what Jen's saying, you know, kind of gets you out of that prideful battle and struggle if you really hone in on the semantics. Like, you know, you're breaking down the semantics so that, you know, somebody may be able to sit in a meditative moment instead of attaching to anxiety. And it's like, doesn't mean you're not anxious or didn't experience anxiety, but you had the tools to perceive it and both experience it and not experience it, so that the moment is, you know, eternal in the moment, and you're not infinitely reflecting on a idea of the past or an idea of the future that might invoke fear, anxiety, or any of those things, because obviously there's a lot of unknown and we're never going to explain it all. So it's about being comfortable in the unknown, and removing some pride in your thoughts, because you are not your thoughts. Those are two other things I wanted to say. Like, you are not your thoughts. You are not even your feelings. Like, we get so attached to our feelings, but, you know, even your feelings transcend themselves, because you may be one way one moment and another the next, but there's nothing wrong with that either. Like, you know, it's like, it's okay to be not okay, but it's also okay to be okay. And I think we are stubborn about, you know, even our traumas in terms of that pride and our ability or inability to navigate the language, you know, inner dialogue in our brains, because we're really talking about what are our brains doing to us. Like, they're not weapons against us, but, you know, society will definitely try to turn your brain into a weapon against you. And, you know, what do they say? You know, no weapon against me formed shall prosper. Like, don't let your brain be a weapon against you. You know, that's not, certainly, if you ask your most inner purposeful self, that's not why you're here. No matter how much one may struggle, and no matter how much answers seem unattainable, it's not really about answers as much as, you know, the right questions and embracing the process. And that's where your brain and heart kind of become the same frequency, to where you can actually hear your gut. Because I think we've talked a lot about that the last few weeks. But it's a great conversation. I was not in the mood for the show, and it sounds like you guys are really communing. It's a beautiful thing. I love doing this. Gotta do it. Consistency is everything. I saw Griselda last night with Show Rock. It was crazy. I heard you play that Show Rock song while we were on that spaceship there. What show is this? The Guides of Nothing Ever?
Yeah, Guides of Nothing Ever, episode 10.
Yeah,
pilot episode 10.
There. But that was some stuff.
Yeah, my bad. I'm gonna weigh in. And my daughter's, I had to get her some bubbles. She was crying, and I turned the bubble machine on.
That's life. That's life. That's life.
The reality is that our brain is always trying to attribute meaning to something.
Right.
So, like, we're always searching for meaning, but our brain is always trying to give us meaning. You know, once again, it's not, our brain is not, and science knows this. We're not interpreting reality as reality is ultimately. We're fractionalizing and we're fractionalizing and fractalizing reality in a mathematical way without knowing anything about math. Like, our brain's just assimilating the data and interpreting it based upon our relative state of existence and all of the sum total of our experiences, our genomic properties, the genetic consequences of those genomic properties, the frequency functionality of genes, and how we have been enabled to interpret it and create meaning out of it to navigate it. So it's like ultimate meaning, meaning, you know what I mean? Like that, you know, it's like ultimately, it is what it is. That's why they always say, I am that I am. So you can't interpret it ultimately. You can't define it ultimately or relatively. So in that sense, there's nothing that you can actually know. You can just accept it, embrace it, and have reverence for it and appreciate it. Yeah. The experience is the experience. And the unique thing about it is you can experience it from those three, and this is relative, it's arbitrary, but those three layers of nothing, something, and then nothing, and then something coexisting as, fractionalized infinity, being perceived as being in motion and having perceptions. You know what I mean? And that's where like these other systems come into play, like these esoteric systems that like people have had these experiences, whether it be through meditation or psychedelics or both, or some type of breathing, etc., where it allows you to get a glimpse behind the infinite veil. You kind of see reality, in an absolute state, but without definition. You know what I mean?
What's good? We got DJ Kaushun in the building. DJ Kaushun has heard. He has returned with better signal.
There you go. Play with the bubbles.
Yeah, it's the whole vibe.
Play with the bubbles.
Play with the bubbles. Play with them bubbles.
It's okay, baby. Play with the bubbles.
Man, I wish I had a recorder, man. It's perfect to record.
What's up, Jen? What's up, Jen?
Go head to head with
What up with it?
With Sunday.
What's up with you, man? When I was in Vegas, dude, I caught some acts over there, and I was just thinking, it's like, man, no offense, but they ain't fucking y'all. I was just like, it's just weird.
What you caught? You caught some local stuff in Vegas?
I caught a show. I caught some MCs, And
want to take a bath, my man?
My reception sucks ass, bro. And it's just like how the deliveries are different now. Like with that trap style, it's like the cadences are different, and you guys have a steady flow. They like piece it up like one, it's like their shit's like just nonstop, and it's like I don't know. I just think I'm not really. I don't know if it's I'm getting older or hello.
No. You're right on point. I mean, we gotta sort of bridge the gap. I think there's a lot of youngins out there that just don't know. So when they start to hear what we're doing, like I got youngins that I coach, 10 to 20-year-olds. They love what we do. It's just a matter of exposure and what the, mainstream in quotes is pushing to people. But like, it doesn't mean there's not a place for some of that, even if we think it's garbage. Like, it only makes what we do more relevant. And it's preference still, like, even back to some of what Jen was talking about in terms of frequencies. Like, the program is only so capable of, capacity to understand. So, you see a lot of that right now. But it's not even about better or worse. It's, there's every equal in nature, different in degree. And oh no, man, we here. We're gonna do our thing.
I'm sorry, guys. You guys are breaking the bad. It's your fault. It's the reception here, bro. It's like I got badass reception here. It's like it looks like speckle. I can't even see you guys.
Badass reception.
I'm probably not just bounce cut out because I can't see anything. It's just bad reception. Fuck. I'm bitch.
Yeah.
Technical difficulties.
So I'm giving my daughter a bath now because she wasn't satisfied with the relative state of bubbles. She's gonna be satisfied with a different relative state of bubbles.
Sounds familiar.
Okay, baby. Look, Daddy give you bubbles.
The bubble count is serious.
Yes, it's okay. It's okay.
Can't believe we've been hanging out for 30 minutes already. Yo, we got anything going on? ExurtBeatz, you got anything going on?
Just that I've been shooting, like I said, the visuals for Beautiful.
All the bubbles.
Oh, you need something from me soon? You need me to do like a FaceTime call or something? What's that? What are you gonna do?
Something like that. I have plans on editing pretty much the video, sending it to you, so that way you can see where needed, and so that way you know it's done.
Dope.
But yeah, it's a crawling situation because it was supposed to have Kaushun's help, but he ended up leaving the area, so I had to start thinking of other camera angles I could do by myself. So other than that, say Square Root's got some visuals, in the works.
For what song?
Possibly Stray Cats, possibly Knowledge Not Fear, and yeah. So
all right.
We're putting some stuff together. We're putting some stuff together.
Game on par.
Yeah, man, seeing everyone putting videos out makes me just want to. It's like I have the capability, so it makes me want to do more.
Well, I love that video you showed me with the French lady that they dropped right after you.
No. They say that's actually it drops on June 17th or June 19th. One of those two. It's coming out.
Shout out that song and that artist again, because that was stuff that's like so old school, but like fresh.
That was Daffy Duck. It's pronounced Daffy Duck, but when she says it, it sounds like Daffy Duck. Either way, at Daffy_Duck. That song is called Je rêve de toi. It's translated in English, I dream of you. And that's
Nice.
Scrolltown,
cool.
Scrolltown MO management, and then basically the remix is the same name, just the remix featuring me.
I love it.
Yeah, those are fishies.
So yeah, that was fun to work. That was fun to work on. I enjoyed working on it. It was everything I did was more so just, hey, I like the song so much, I did this here, and it turned out she liked it a lot, and the management liked it a lot, and they're like, we're gonna make this official. So they're like, don't show this to, don't put this out yet. We're gonna get it all situated. All right.
I'm glad they're getting that together, because that was a really dope project.
Yes, it was. Yeah, I agree with you. It had that old school R&B feel to it, kind of. And it's, I don't know, it's like the beat, like everything about it was great. Like the melodies of her vocals, to the beat, it was awesome.
Love it.
Like it probably would be that much better if I understood the language. How's the album doing? Space Rhyme.
I'm making so much. Oh, the album's doing well. We did well. We did over 1,000 units the first week, so that's more than we could have ever asked for. And we've been on. We shout out Unlock the Bars. We did an interview with Toxic TV. It's TAK_SICTV. Unlock the Bars Uncut. We did like a 2-hour listening party just Thursday night with him, and we talked a lot about the record and gave more insights into the process. And man, we've been couple other write-ups coming out probably in the next month. Like I'm sending the record out to several, you know, curators and people that have asked for it. So
it's okay, baby. Play with the bubbles.
I've been sending the masters out. Shout out Food Sick. Food Sick's gonna do a review on it. Like John D. Contradiction did a review when it dropped, you know, a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. Or I guess it's been 2 weeks now, two weeks and a few days. But we've done, you know, way more numbers than I would have expected organically, and just a lot of collective community promotion. It's been you know, warms my heart in the sense that we're very close to doing what we need to do on our own to, you know, grab a hold of just other audiences. It's all about, I don't even like using the word exposure as much as just connecting to those that, you know the frequency, or, you know, will acknowledge the frequency. So, love the record, really proud of it. Yeah, man, Space Rhyme Continuum, it's everywhere.
Yeah, that was definitely
Stream that shit.
That was definitely a dope album.
Download it, buy it. Yeah,
It definitely needs a lot more than just one listen. I can guarantee that.
Yeah, a lot of, and so much good feedback from so many people. Rhymecology, Rap Seminar, just you name it. Everybody we know has really been moved. Even 1015 Cut, she was telling me the other day, she goes in, her truck ain't working right now, but her radio is, and she'll go sit in her truck in her driveway and just bump certain songs. Like she loves the album. Like I love that from, you know, friends and peers and community members that are super skilled when they're bumping that shit. You know, you know you've done something right. Shout out my sis, 1015 Cut.
Yeah. Shout out.
Yeah, she's awesome, man. I've been her fan from the beginning. I like to brag about how I was her fan before anybody knew who she was. I'm like, oh, you're a fan, huh? Okay. Well, I was a fan first.
What's her first IG post?
Well, I don't remember, but I do know that, like, I was trying to recruit her before anybody in the community knew who she was. Like, I was trying to recruit her for Super Hey Roo.
Right. It was when I was friends with Brucey. I didn't know Cut. You definitely pointed her out. And, like, as soon as I saw Cut, I mean, she'd been my sister since the moment we started talking. She is one of the best friends on the globe. But so skilled, so versatile, and so soulful. But true to that Southern shit, too. She's like my Southern goddess MC. She coming to ATL soon. We're about to record. I'm in such a recording mode, too. Like, I am recording so much stuff right now. I have so much in the can.
That's good. It's always good to have
yeah
rounds in the chamber. I
got so much. Like I'm probably, you know, that raw input's working. Man, I got so much done for that. Dan sent me in his feature this week with a mixed and mastered song on an anabolic beat, and it is monstrous. Monstrous. It's like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Speaking of that, my engineer got a hold of me today, and he asked me if Thursday was a good day to get some hours in, so I'll be able to get some of those songs done.
I'll get with you by Wednesday and help make that
What I'm gonna do is, though, I'm gonna schedule another, because he's only gonna let me get a few hours, so I'm gonna schedule an appointment with the other engineer and just do everything there that day when I go with him. So I'll go with
because I need a verse from you on raw input before I probably see you.
Yeah, I know, and so that's why I'm saying that. Like, I'm gonna do a few hours with him, get a bunch of stuff done as much as I can, and then I'm going to do everything at the other guy's house so that I can get everything done that everyone needs.
I love how we're just talking our inner workings right now. So anybody listening, this is how, you know, artists don't, you know, we work and don't work at the same time. Everything's done for the Hey Roo project, so it's just Ain Sufi the Oracle stuff, and you don't have anything else, right? So it's just Ain Sufi the Oracle.
Well, I have to do doubles and stuff for the Super Hey Roo project. So like I have to play it all the way through, and then do doubles and ad libs and stuff. But the Ain Sufi stuff has to get done. That's why I said I'm just gonna make an appointment with Dude, get them their doubles and ad libs. And then I'm just gonna do everything that for Ain't Soupy the Oracle, some songs that day, and then everything I need for you and myself with the other guy. And I'll schedule it ASAP. That way I can just get it out the way, because I want to be done with this so I can, start thinking about other stuff. Because this stuff is basically done,
I'm with it.
So
yeah, I'm about ready to start thinking about other stuff too. I got like 20 in the can.
Yeah.
You said 20?
Yeah, and then
at least. I have a lot in the can right now. Brand new shit. I put down a lot. I have a whole nother thing I can't even say anything about that is going to blow people's minds in like 2 months. And that's not the Backbone stuff. Like, the Backbone stuff is steady moving. We had a blast, Show Rock a Backbone and I at the Griselda show last night. Shout out Griselda, Benny the Butcher, Conway the Machine, West Side Gun. Like, they had, man, it was like some, like, New York Dungeon Family type vibes. Like, Backbone was crunk. Like, we had a blast, like, just kind of vibing off their whole vibe. Like, it was pure, it was hip hop, it was a lot of talent, a lot of lyrical precision. And even like that song you played earlier, like Raka's representing the show last night, like in the song, because it was that inspiring. And we just, it was a raw, one of those eternal moments, like I'm talking about. Unforgettable experience. They were just right. Beats were monstrous. There was not a whack beat played. There were a couple female MCs too, and there was one particular that I don't know her name, but she was an incredible MC. The latter female in the show. She had a couple songs with them. I'm not super familiar with Griselda, honestly. I know Conway the Machine. I've been following him as he came up. And I know Benny the Butcher, but they were incredible live. This was a lyrical lesson and masterclass in terms of how to execute a show. It was kind of like West Side Gun did like a 45-minute set, 50 minutes, brought out Benny the Butcher at the end of his set. Benny the Butcher did like a 30, 45-minute set, and then they brought out Conway the Machine at the end of Benny's set, and Conway did like a 45-minute set to close, and they all did a song together at the end. And it was just really, really well executed. Like, right when you thought it was getting a little monotonous, like they switched something up, like it was hardcore, like real hardcore. But a lot of simple, just sample, simple hardcore sample beats. Very reminiscent of some of the stuff we do, actually. Even simpler, I would say, on some of the chops. But like that bass was bumping. Crowd was pretty crunk for Atlanta. Yo, man, we were inspired. Like, we came back here and wrote this song, after the show. What you eating on? Your wife feeding you?
Yeah, I got some Ono Hawaiian. She made me come and try to eat.
Nice.
Kanye's one of those artists that I also like take pride in, because everybody that I knew always favored Benny, and I was like, yo,
Conway.
I like
yeah.
Conway, and I was like, yo, I fuck with Benny, but I'm like, Conway's the one. And
and that's why he was last. They have the show lined up. This is that song. Turn it up a little bit. Jen, listen to that song. We just finished this 2 hours ago. The Blonju beat. I just let my West Side Gun concert. So my gun go. I just let my West Side Gun concert. Set it on fire, let it off and shoot. Stuck popping these shots, too much drama. We gon' slice them up proper. That's what moving a lot. It was a night we cut Sonic. There's nothing we up top with a spine. True fire, that's trouble. Just rocker, got them so squared up. We really didn't prepare, but I never even cared. They figured we want a sharecrop. Fuck white America, this shit ain't what it is. They sell you media and bleed on top of kids that go to prison like they feeding us the stories. Now we back into our wits like it's only fair. We killed a microphone and smoke a terrorist. They bury with it, still gon' bring trauma because we carry this. It's missile back and forth towards the base and they've been buried with it. They see the fort, carry vision to the north. Bring the shit they never heard about and break them out before we see them work it out. Y'all can hear us shoot a gun before it's black. Y'all can see the crown before the thorns. I just left a West Side Gun concert. So my gun go.
That hook is crazy.
It's all rocker, man.
It sounds like the dopest freestyle hook ever.
I mean, he wrote it like a melody, though, so it's pretty impressive. Listen to this.
Art imitates life. I'm a cut above the breast. That's a different blade knife on a different plane. If you lame, visit grave sites. Get yourself accommodated. That's a different pain, right? It ain't right, but I'll get you left on sight. Yeah, your letters come together, but you use the wrong type. That's light, like chords and Michelob's. These whores and stripping clothes. These birds got it twisted and pigeon-toed. Me, I be kicking flows, kinda like you swimming against the current. I'ma flourish on this song as I spit this rose. Sure, I envision those things as difficult. An angel in disguise, but my wings is lyrical. So clip my wings or let me fly. All my life, no support, bitch, let me die. Put my life between the paper, I don't stress these lines. But if you hear that, it was just my time. I just
yeah, that shit hot.
Yeah, man.
I just left a West Side Gun concert. Set it on fire, let it off at you. I just left a West Side Gun concert. So my gun go West Side Gun concert. Set it on fire, let it off at you.
Yeah, that's hot. Yeah, he murdered that.
Yeah, we had fun. That was real natural. We wrote it last night and put it down a little while ago. That's Show Rocka. SHOWROCKA. Also known as Show Rock. The man. Nasty stuff.
Hey, stinky butt. What you doing? Huh? You playing with your fishy?
Yo, Jen.
Yeah.
That. Oh.
I'm listening.
Jen, that beat was one that I gave to Heyruz in the very beginning, and like no one ever really liked it. And
I did.
we played it last. I know you did, but it wasn't enough for the album, or But we vibed with it last night. And like I don't know, we had that whole thing written in an hour or less. Is this the version with the hook on it?
No, sir.
I still haven't listened. I'm so sorry.
No worries. I don't want to embarrass myself for life.
Whatever. You can't.
Yeah. Right.
Yo, I'm Nejma Nefertiti's in town. She's got a show in Atlanta at 529 on 525, which is I think Wednesday night. So I'm gonna try to go catch Nejma performing in Atlanta at 529. Shout out to Queen Nejma Nefertiti.
Yeah, I would like to get a verse from her on my album. She's definitely going on my album.
I know. I have. Showrock and I have been so busy we didn't even hit her up. I feel bad, but I'll text her tomorrow, see what's good. I'll probably just see her at the show, unless she's available in the next couple nights.
Yeah, I'm gonna have the dopest MCs ever on this project, including the dopest gin verses you've ever heard.
Yo, I mean, what you're doing is already completely crazy. I mean, it's some of the best shit I've ever heard. Nice. Thank you. Nice.
That's just the intro. The hook will come in after 16 bars.
Oh, okay. So that's not even the hook. I like it.
Yeah, that's just the intro.
All right.
Yeah, that's dope.
We're curating our own stuff live on the show. Do anything. That's Joe McGinnis. Joe McGinnis has been on the Long Road show in the last couple of weeks. It's my boy Joe McGinnis. Joe MCG.
So, if anybody,
Wait.
I'm at it, yeah, no pun. clowning. Don't get dramatic or unbalanced. Music magic, yeah, just let it happen. Don't panic, baby, you'll manage. Let's go. Follow me, I know the way to go. I can lead you there, but then you're on your own. Not gonna leave you there all alone. I see you on the other side. You gotta walk to the door. Let's go.
Love it. Love it. That's gonna be crazy, Norvell. That's gonna be crazy. Jen, what were you gonna say?
No, his signals went low.
Man, good job. Good job.
I still gotta mix it,
That's
but
a whole vibe. That's a whole vibe. I love the harmony. That is so bluesy. I love hearing you do that. That's different for you. You didn't do too much or too little. I love it. I'm even gonna do some harmonies with you.
That's what I was hoping for.
Yeah. That follow me, I know the way to go. It's definitely gonna be something I say.
Yeah, that was one thing that I try to make stand out.
Great job.
Like I said, I still gotta do some mixing, add some strength to the vocals, but that's majority what it's gonna sound like.
Great job.
All right.
That's a production.
Yeah, man. Seriously, this has a bluesy, jazzy vibe to it.
Yeah, that's where I come from. That's how I know Joe. Joe was playing with my dad when he was like 20, maybe 22. I was 20. I've known Joe about 20 years.
That's what's up.
Yeah, I highly recommend listening to Joe McGinnis, actually. He's got several albums for free. Joe McGinnis, it might be .net, but you can go get several of his like highly well-produced records for free off of his website, and it's Joe, McGuinn, Joe McGinn, ESS, two N's, two S's. Really good dude. Really good
you
dude.
Definitely have to send me a link so that way I can.
And incredible original, like, folky blues soul.
That's what's up.
But it's non-genre, like covered one of my dad's songs, Fishbone Joe, on one of those records, and it's like an epic narrative story about a homeless guy, basically, who is sort of my dad. Sort of a allegory of my dad at times in his life.
Looks like Jen.
Nice. Jen fell off. It's just me and you now.
Yes, sir.
That's how it goes. That's where guides of nothing ever go.
Too bad for
off no energy.
Yep. Yeah. What?
Phone died. Jen texts me and says, "This is real life. Real life. Whatever real life means." It's a projection our brains have created.
Seriously.
It's a rough estimation of our brain's projection.
And then everyone's so it's so easy to adapt to something that's already there. So there's already that template there for everyone to jump to. Now everyone jumps to it.
That's a good point. It's like that's where attachment comes in. Like if you can only perceive with what you have, in your perceivability belt, then you're almost doomed to attach and repeat if you can't find a way to experience that which is inexperienceable in your own mind's eye. And it's a humbling thing. It's like, have a sense of humor, like find the line between serious and super funny, but like, you can't laugh at everything forever, but I guess, relatively speaking, maybe you could, or that's what we're supposed to be doing. I don't know, man. My mom, she would tell you, have a sense of humor about yourself, and that will lead you in the right direction.
Very true. It's that positive mindset.
Yeah,
that does
and
help.
well, not taking oneself too seriously. I think that, you know, even like suicide, there's so many terrible things going on right now, like, you know, racial inequality, racial division, the propaganda machines that are begatting some of the most heinous acts ever. And it's like, it's always been like this. It's just we have media and, you know, yeah, and I'm not saying it's always been this bad, I guess, collectively or relatively speaking, but you know, it's still perception. Like, we have these like extreme lows, so we can embrace, like, you know, the interconnectivity of every imaginable concept of energy or, you know, frequency, like what Jen was talking about at the beginning of the show. And no matter how illusionary our brain's projection may be, you know, I think there's something to be said for going through that experience and learning, you know, about detaching and reconnecting, like, that's the process. Like, whether you're the godliest god or the most unknown peon, like, equal in nature, different in degree, like, both are experiencing both, no matter how separate, but equal it may be on an energy level. So oh no, the healing process involves this type of semantic breakdown where if you cannot attach to the bipolar nature of, you know, the language and, you know, sort of find the in-between space, you can really make existence a bit more efficiently connected than so just entrenched in separate and not equal and division and the way everything gets to be such a competition. It's like survival of the dickest is something that comes to mind. Like, you know, humans are so ego filled, like, you know, they really like to attach to illusionary fantastical narratives, and, you know, then it's the survival of the dickest. And I'm not you know, condoning heinous acts or you know, but we still, it's a forgiveness lesson, and it's a understanding and misunderstanding lesson, and it's how do you you know, hone in on the infinite stillness within the motion in your brain, heart, gut, soul, to weather the storm for now, because you know, perception really isn't reality, I think is the message Jen was sort of starting with the brain and, you know, even chemicals and frequencies. Like, there's a large amount of programming that goes into all that. So how much can you zoom out and zoom in simultaneously, and you know, find that balance without being so balanced that you're bored, or so balanced that you cease to exist, even if that was the goal, you know. And I think, I don't know if that you know, don't take yourself too seriously. Don't take everything so literally. It's like, don't take perception so literally, I guess.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
These are all cliches, and only relatively can be applied in relative eternal moments anyway. So I don't want to say no harm, no foul, but it's like, we're doing the best we can with what we have, and acceptance, forgiveness, those things can't be fantasies ultimately. There has to be some level of relative integrity or truth in acceptance, forgiveness, to get to
understanding,
unconditional love or understanding, correct. And then to be able to transcend perception at that point, so that, you know, the feeling, and that's really what I was trying to get out of it when Jen was going on. I was like, isn't your brain feeling at that point? Your brain is actually not thinking, your brain's feeling the frequency, and then you know, sort of illusionarily converting those feelings and frequencies to thoughts. And it's like, then we project those thoughts and take them so literally that we identify with our thoughts, and then can't get out of our own heads. And like, I'm not immune to any of this. I do you know, I can speak on it because of course I do it too. I'm dealing with, you know, losing physical bodies and loved ones and transcending of that type of energy. And, you know, no matter how traumatic that experience is, everybody goes through it. And, you know, I'm not greater or lesser in terms of the traumas I feel empathetically or coded into the DNA. So, you know, I want to speak on those things, utilize that perspective and energy and feeling, and try to convey, you know, some level of copeability, because I think it's coping skills. Like, we don't have enough collective effective coping skills, so we do a lot of toxic coping, a lot of
definitely,
toxic. We base a lot of foundations on misunderstanding, and then you can't get out of the way of our own perceptions at that point. So, I mean, I want to heed my own advice. These are some nuggets, and it's all. I don't want to say easier said than done, because I think that's a cop out sometimes to say that, and then it's like, oh well, that's impossible. So I'll never be able to do that, but it's within us. It's certainly not external or something we need to attain, as much as a perspective shift, or a way to step back from our brains and not take everything so literally or seriously. But easier done than said sometimes. If we can, if once we get out of our heads, it becomes easier to do than one would think. So I'm not going to make excuses. I used the language as an excuse for a long time, and Jen and I had a dope revelation a month or so ago where we were talking about the language and always trying to transcend duality. That and I'm not. That's certainly a major crux in why I'm here in the body and whatever I convey through the conduit message channel frequency. But I don't know. I think we're more capable than we give ourselves credit for.
Yes, definitely.
Some of these capabilities, and with practice in due time, even though time is more of a construct than a reality, but our perspectives are very capable, and we will accomplish whatever we think we needed to accomplish, and we'll be all right. All right. Bob Marley style.
It's growth.
Jen back?
Yep.
My phone might die too. We're getting to an hour.
Yeah, we're at that time. We can call it if you want to.
I hate that Kaushun was on. Well, I mean, if Jen's back for a minute, we should talk for another couple minutes and wrap it up. I still got over 10%. I think I've only gotten my 20% message. So,
wash your hands, baby. Put them underwater.
It's been fun. Like it flew by.
Put them
I feel
underwater.
like I've just been hanging out.
It always does. Like in the beginning, it starts out slow, and then it just zooms.
Yeah, I looked at the 18-minute marker, and I was like, 18 minutes? That's all.
Okay.
We came in hot with the Jen brain projection talk. But we on our way. And we're sort of constantly arriving, constantly departing, all at once.
Shout out to the 2 viewers we had today. We had one on YouTube. We have one on Twitch right now.
Beautiful.
Shout out to the both of you.
Much love to anybody listening or watching. We just
Who are they?
hanging out with y'all.
I don't know. Well, we got another one. One from YouTube and one on Twitch.
You stinky butt.
And if you guys can hear me, put your names in the comments on the platforms you're on.
Oh, cool.
Would like to follow you. Say thank you.
Yeah, shout you out.
Definitely.
Oh, did you get a guide? Did I send you enough Guides of Nothing Ever shirts where you got one that works for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got plenty.
All right. I mean, I truly wanted to make sure you got a bunch of stuff, because you have done so much, and we're working on songs and beats and passing stuff back and forth, and you're such a great supporter and collaborator and peer and friend. So
I appreciate that.
I was glad to send that stuff.
Same to you, my friend. Same to you.
Oh, appreciate that. We sold out of all the Space Rhyme Continuum stuff. There's no Space Rhyme Continuum gear left. Like,
nice.
Nothing. I have one extra large shirt, but I'll give that to somebody local, probably a friend that I still have. I mean, we sold all of that stuff.
Nice.
I have physical CDs. I probably have about 60 or 70 physical CDs left. So there will be physical CDs available for anybody that wants one for a little while.
Yeah, that was same thing over and over. It's like a great project. It was amazing. I'm probably gonna listen to that tonight, actually. I feel like
so next week is. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No. No. Go ahead. You were talking about the project. You're gonna listen to it later tonight.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll listen to it later tonight because I know I listened to it when you guys first sent it to me, and then I didn't listen to it until maybe like 2-3 days before the show, and then I haven't listened to it since then.
Oh, so, okay, nice.
I've been listening to like little bits of like songs here and there, but I haven't listened to it all the way through again.
All right.
I'm interested to see what my take is going to be this time.
I've got a CD of it in my car, the printed up press CD, and I've been bumping the CD. It's crazy.
That's actually that's what I might do.
I gotta say, that was fun. My phone's at 9%, so I got about 2 or 3 more minutes, and we can wrap it up.
Sounds good.
Jen, you gonna hang out in High
mine's still charging.
Tonight? We got Sunday on Sunday night on Gone Show.
I might, because I've been napping all day and I need to get some stuff done.
So I'm gonna hang with Rocka till like 11 or 12. We might do another song, we might not. But I'll be around, and I'll be around tomorrow too because I got car trouble, so I'm gonna be dealing with my car all day.
Well, I guess on that note, if you guys don't have nothing else to say,
yeah. On the car trouble note,
we can end this. This is the Guides of Nothing Ever, Guides of Nothing Ever, pilot episode 10.
Let me give you Kaushun. One more video shout out.
DJ Kaushun.
Episode 10.
Yep. Genesis to God, ExurtBeatz, and Blonju. Thanks for tuning in. Shout out to the two of you.
Love.
And we are out.
Appreciate it.